Welcome traders. A lot of people have asked me about this before, and in today's video, what I'm going to be doing is breaking down my full Sierra chart setup using only one monitor to trade the S&P 500 futures. So this is a video for those that might only have one screen. They're trading on their laptops. They might be trying to learn on the go. Whatever the case may be, I'm going to break down all the charts that I use and everything that I use here on Sierra charts in one simple video. So if you guys are super excited about that, drop a like down below, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment as well. And don't forget, there is a free futures course in the description down below, so go check that out. Let's run into this intro, and then I'm going to see you guys on the other side to explain what we got cooking over here. So this is my Sierra chart setup, right? Nothing very extravagant. We've got a few charts here on the screen, and some have more importance than others naturally. So I'm going to break this down, start going from left to right. So number one over here, we got the depth of market, right? Depth of market is a chart that I love and I can't trade without. This is my order flow chart that has a lot of different gadgets and tools and movements on it that are very important to understand and break down. So this is the depth of market. It's where I analyze my order flow. It's pivotal. It's where I can click and trade, right? If I put in limits here to buy, this is how I trade, cancel, flatten, right? Different things. I'll break this down in just a bit. Next up, we got a general 10-tick chart, two of them actually, right? These 10-tick charts over here and over here are just general basic charts that allow me to identify just the visual movement of the market. I'm not a price action trader. I don't trade based on candlestick patterns or different types of scenarios like that, market structure based on candlesticks or whatever the case may be, right? That's not what I do. What I do is I like to visualize where price is in relation to the levels that I manually draw based on these like white lines, and also we have volume profiles here. It's a very basic chart just to give me a visual understanding of what price movement looks like. The other chart over here, the only difference is, right, they're both 10-tick charts. This one over here has a delta volume profile. This one just has a regular volume profile, and we have some delta bars at the bottom, right? And then the last two charts here, before I deep dive into each one of these individually, the last two charts, right, maybe one of my top favorites, right? This chart and the depth of market is all I need to break down my trades and understanding, right? These charts here on the most right-hand side, the top is the NASDAQ, the bottom is the S&P 500, and these are volume profile charts that have not only a large cumulative volume profile, which is based on a 50-day, but it also has individual day sessions, so both the extended hours and the regular trading hours sessions based on a market profile and a volume profile associated with some beautiful colors. So let's dive into these step by step, right? The depth of market is a fairly easy tool. I'll show you guys what I have in it right now. So if I go into chart and I go into studies here, what I have is two very important aspects right here. The imbalance profile, which allows me to find delta, right? So this is delta here on the side, the colored blue and red numbers, right? And this imbalance profile, I just add a volume by price tool. If I go into the settings, right, I just create a volume profile similar tool, but it's based on the ask volume minus the bid volume, right? Line 48 and line 49 are pivotal, where I have the difference of bid and ask volume coloring, right? This is why it's different rather than only just having a volume profile. You can see, right, it's just volume profiles. I start from the session, start time to end, and these are the settings over here. So in the subgraphs, right, you can just change the colors as you would like. Nothing crazy going on over here. So that's the main delta region. Otherwise, everything else, right, I also have a volume profile of VBP, which is, again, volume by price. It's just the grayed out volume profile. Other than that, you can find the rest of the settings for this depth of market inside trade and customized chart trade DOM columns, right? And this is what I've got over here. I've got the price naturally, the bid size column, right? Recent bid and recent ask. These are the market orders in the middle, very important. The ask side column over here, and then the current bid volume traded versus the current ask volume traded, right? This is just the volume profile split up into buyers and sellers at market, right? Very, very simple tool. Over here, what I've got is just a simple range chart. So if I go into chart settings, right, bar period type, I just have a range per bar and ticks, 10 tick, right? Very simple stuff. And then in terms of the other settings that I have on this, again, nothing crazy, right? I can go into analysis here, the studies. You'll see that there's a lot of stuff, but a lot of these are hidden, right? So like I use a volume profile, a VBP, and that's it, honestly. That's all I have. Everything else is just like nonsense here. I'll use a 1 day. So again, it's just a general volume profile. I won't split the overnight and the current day session, so I have a cumulative volume profile. And then if I go into, if this guy up here, the delta, right? The delta is slightly different. One, I'll add the ask/bid volume for difference bars right down into the lows. And then I'll just add a VBP again, but this time I'm just going to keep it as delta. So instead of having just a general volume profile, I'll add the ask minus bid volume over here at volume bar calculation method, and then the difference of bid and ask volume coloring for line 49, right? If you take a look at this volume profile, for example, over here, you'll see that down into line 48 and 49, we got something completely different, right? 48 total volume, right? 49, none. So very, very different. What's a little more complicated are these charts over here. So if I expand this, what I've got is a lot here, right? So this is my bread and butter in terms of identifying where my key areas are, where my volume profile distributions are, right? All that good stuff. So when I'm looking at this, right, I have a few different concepts here. We've got the 50-day volume profile, the cumulative for the current contract. And then we've got individual sessions, right? This is the overnight where we have the TPO that's a little more green, and combined with that is its own volume profile. And this is the current regular trading hours session, right? So with that, you have a lot of extended lines here, right? What the yellow line is, right, we'll go step by step. The yellow line is associated with the cumulative volume profile. The yellow line is the valley of the cumulative volume profile, meaning these volume profile ledges. So I can have very obvious levels that are automatically drawn for me. So if I look at that study, I'm going to go into these studies here, and you can see there's not that many studies, but again, I'll be adding a volume by price chart. And in this case, I'm going to create a volume profile that has a 1 period at end for fixed time, right? The fixed time length. So I make sure that's a 50-day time period, right? The fixed time. I make it a 60-day, 50-day, right? They're kind of interchangeable. So that's the main concept here. Total volume, again, I don't differentiate between the colors. So you got to make sure that's for a fixed time period. I align it to the right as well, wherever that is. Yeah, so align to far right, line 68. And another thing is here, line 64, drop peaks and valleys. I don't really care about the peaks that much, but I care about the valleys where price drops off and creates this divot in volume because those are my key ledges. So I'll make sure valleys only is selected, which draws my yellow lines. I don't really care about the point of control, so on and so forth, right? Those are there. It doesn't matter. I'm mainly focused on where the distributions are. And I'll drop down over here to look at the valleys, right? So I'll look at the valleys and I'll make it yellow, right? I'll label it. I'll click these guys over here, and there are my valleys. So that's the cumulative volume profile. Now, when I go into the individual volume profiles, what you got to add is a TPO chart, right? So if I'm looking at this, I add a volume by price chart. And what I'm doing over here is I have the volume profiles, right? And then I have my volume graph period based on TPO chart. So that's associated with the TPO chart that I have, or a market profile chart. What I'll do then, right, you got total volume, blah, blah, blah. Nothing really crazy here. I can draw both the peaks and the valleys if I'd like. And then what I have here is highlight value area, high and low only, right? I press no on this. We also have over here on line 54, right? Highlight value area, I press no, so I can see all these different colors that show up inside the actual volume profile, right? So if I can see these, what I have is a color system, right? So these color systems are based on a percentage of the point of control. So anything above green, you can see a 60% plus. That's similar to the point of control's actual volume. You can see the point of control is going to be the blue. So I can see where there's heavy volume within the overall volume profile, right? You can highlight the volume profile area and you can see where there's heavy volume profile that is outside of the value area. So I like this because it identifies where the heavy volume is on this chart, right? If I take a look at this, and it helps me identify where key turning points are. Because if there's heavy volume, generally speaking, they can act as support resistance areas as well as rejection areas. You can see there's a lot of volume over here at the high, right? It's green and it's outside of the value area, suggesting that there's a lot of resistance shaping in at the top, for example, right? So another thing that I look at here, let's go back into this. We have to add the TBO, right? Time price opportunity chart. So if I'm looking at this TBO, it's right here, right? TBO profile chart, we can add that. If I look at this, right, these are the settings for it. You can see the settings over here, multiple periods, line 4 based on fixed time, right? 30-minute time intervals, minutes, you can change them up, right? You can have daily, whatever the case is. Right, these are all the overall areas that I've got. Extended value area, end of period, right? Extended TPO, point of control, end of period. Extended poor low and poor high until further intersection. I like those because these are the poor low and poor high lines. These are unfinished auctions here, these dotted lines, which are great to extend because it allows me to see where there can be key support, resistance, and turning points in the market, right? I have separate colors for day and evening sessions. What else do we have here? You guys can pause the video and see all these settings here, right? Nothing crazy. I have the extension of the value areas as well, right? Point of control value areas until they're intersected again, because what this does is allows me to identify where the naked value area lines are, naked POCs are, which have attractant or general support resistance areas. So this is the main chart that I use that helps me identify where my levels to trade are and what the general market directionality looks like on a day-to-day basis. So that's the final chart. You can just copy paste it for NASDAQ and change the symbol. If you want to change the symbol, you go into chart settings, and then you have this right here. You can change the symbol to whatever it is, right? For me, I'm using CME, so F.US. Whatever the symbol is. Right, you can select symbols and find them as well. But generally speaking, this is everything that I use to trade futures, right? On one singular chart. On my other screen, right, I have other DOMs, just very similar stuff. Nothing that's really different from this. There's one thing else that I have it's not that important, but this is the general main structure of my Sierr charts, and I showed you guys generally where to find them and how to build these charts out. So a very simplistic approach, especially for those who only have one monitor or are beginning to dive into Sierr charts and are thinking, what charts are useful, right? What charts should I start off with? And this is the main construct of what I've got cooking and what I've got going on. So I sincerely hope you enjoyed this rundown of what I use. A lot of people have been asking me, hey, can I get your chart book? What does your chart book look like? How do I get these settings? Here it all is. It's a very, very basic beginner guide to Sierr chart and understanding my charts that I use to trade on a daily basis. And these are the charts that you see in the live trading room every single morning at TPA. So if you guys thoroughly enjoyed this video, drop a comment down below. What other aspects of Sierr charts do you guys want to see? And let me know what you think. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget there's that free futures course that's based on this layout on our website that you can just sign up for. So I'll see you guys next time, and let me know, what else do you want to see based on Sierra charts?